Hi there, Nigel Saunders here of KW Bonsai. Today we're going to be talking about trunk chops, cutting the trunk of a bonsai tree severely. Trunk chops can be a dirty word in the world of bonsai. Very often you can see a tree displayed at a show that if you look behind the tree there's a large scar where the trunk was shortened. The scar is not healed over, it's not part of the design of the tree, and it looks pretty ugly. Trunk chopping is an essential tool for building your trunks. If you let your tree grow, you'll just become a tall, skinny tree. If you start pinching it to get branching, all the branches will be the same diameter as a trunk, and you'll get this. You'll get a tree that doesn't have a thick trunk. It just has a spindly trunk, spindly branches with lots of ramification, which can be a style of a tree. But if you're after a powerful trunk with powerful surface roots, you need to do trunk chopping as you're developing the tree and the trunk to get that nice taper and that nice difference between a thick trunk and thinner branches. This tiny Ficus religiosa, for instance, has had a major trunk chop here that's almost healed over perfectly. It's had some branches pruned off here. It's had a trunk chop here. It's had another trunk chop here. And it's going to get another one today. So it's had three really major trunk chops, and it's going to have its fourth today. So when the trunk chops do heal, it makes a very attractive trunk on the tree. Trunk chopping is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a tree with lots of branches and foliage, something that looks like a tree, and in a lot of cases you cut it way back and it looks like a stump or a stick coming out of the ground. But it's just part of the bonsai process. You have to do that. Why would I trunk chop this tree again? Well, the reason is I want to develop this tree in a banyan style. So I want my thick trunk coming up and then a lot of multi trunks and branches coming out from, basically this point around here. I don't want a central leader coming up like this one. Also, I want to keep this tree as small as possible. So this is the tallest part of the tree. So I think we can safely cut that back to here. And then we'll get a lot more branching and probably new buds coming out all over the trunk that we can develop into our upright sort of broom banyan style. So let's do that. Let's do our big cut on this tree, which isn't that big a cut because it's a small tree. So here we go. So I'm going to keep this branch here. I'm just going to cut it off right here. Like that. And this can be grown as a cutting. So there we have it. We've got our trunk chop there. From the front, here's the front of our tree. It still looks pretty good. We're hoping to get, more branching. Just keep improving the design. I'm going to also just cut back the new shoot here. Scissor prune the tip off to get some more ramification. And that'll be it for that little tree for today. The next tree we're going to trunk chop is this Scots pine. This tree was collected as a very small seedling, and there's nothing wrong with the style of the tree. It's a nice, tall, upright tree. It could be developed into any style we want. It has a lot of nice stuff going for it, a lot of nice branching and that. However, we have a shoot down low here which developed since I collected the tree, and to me it just screams chopping the trunk, removing this section and growing the tree from this small shoot. that will do two things. It'll give us a small Scots pine, very small Scots pine. It'll give us some trunk taper as we're going from this thicker trunk to a thinner branch. So a trunk chop on this tree would be a little different. You could prune it flush down here. However, you might lose that branch. You might interrupt the sap flow too much to that branch, and the whole tree could die off. So with a pine tree, it's better to be safe and cut it higher. Let the tree recover, let the wound heal over. This branch will die off, and then we can cut it flush later on in the tree's life. Here we go with trunk chop number 2 now. So I'm going to prune it quite high to about here. Off it goes. And we're left with a small little Scots pine. The next tree we're going to be chopping down in height is another Ficus religiosa. It's a larger one. And this one too, I want to develop the branching a little more evenly rather than having a central leader. So we're going to do what I call is a Hail Mary cut. That's where you cut a branch off or a trunk. There's no foliage underneath, so you're just hoping you cut it off and new shoots develop on that trunk. If they don't develop, it means that trunk will die back. So it's a bit of a gamble of a cut. So here we go. We're going to prune it down to about the same height as this one. So I'm going to prune it to here. Just like that. So you can see there's no foliage on this branch at all. So we're just hoping new shoots grow in. The other branches, we're going to just prune it for ramification. So I'll prune the tip off. I'm going to remove this one leaf that's getting in the way. And I'll remove the tip off here too. So we get a bit more ramification, and it'll slow the growth of these trunks down so this one can catch up. And that's it for that chop on that tree. The last tree we'll be doing a trunk chop on today is this cedar tree, an eastern white cedar. And we're not going to take too much off it, but we are going to reduce the height. This tree's seen a really hard life. If you look at the trunk, it's got all kinds of scars, and yeah, it's seen a tough life. I don't know what happened to it, but boy, it must have some stories to tell. If we pan up, even in the upper part, it's quite rugged. There's some nasty branches being ripped off, and then as we get up to the top, it's more typical of a young cedar. So on this tree, I want to keep all the character in the tree. I don't want to cut it off down below all the scars and that, but I do want to reduce the height by a little bit. So let's look for a point on the tree where we could cut it, and I would say right about here. We've got a nice leader here, so I will do that. I'm going to do a flush cut. It'll help improve the balance of the tree too. It also arcs forward. So here we go, for good or worse. We prune the top off. So there's our scar, our new leader. Still got all the character of the tree. These long branches will probably be cut off eventually and replaced with some smaller shoot that hopefully will grow in here someday. The Schefflera in front of me has had many trunk chops over the years. You let it grow, cut it back hard, let it grow again, cut it back hard. It's a long process, and it takes a lot of patience, and you kind of have to visualize the future of your tree. A lot of people are reluctant to cut back trees hard because they lose all their foliage. The tree looks like a stump for the longest time. It's not something people like doing, and I can understand why. But if you want a really good tree to develop, far into the future, Even if you're not going to develop it, someone else might. It's best to do the right things to the tree, even though it sacrifices the look of the tree for quite a while. This yucca tree has been severely cut back. It's almost healed, so you can't even tell it was cut back now. So as it develops in the future, it'll become better and better. And you know, I'll be really glad I did cut it off and trunk chopped it. And that's similar with a lot of my trees, is that, you know, you trunk chop them now and you don't see the benefit till way down the road. You know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Then you start to see the wound heal over, the trunk gets better taper, and it looks really good. So it's just part of bonsai trunk chops. So Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai, do something green today. Try and live with less. Try and enjoy the simple things in life, like growing bonsai, visiting family, not buying things to try and make you happy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.